So in this video, what we're going to be talking about is tables, really just one table. So tables are pretty easy, essential things kind of, and you can make tables with regular HTML, but Material UI allows you to make tables as well, and there's a few extra things you could do out of the gate, as you've seen with the other Material UI videos I've done, where there's just built-in styling that you just don't have to do on your own, which makes it super easy. So without further ado, let's get going here. Let's make a table container first. And one thing that's interesting in the documentation I'm going to point back to, just in case you haven't watched all the videos, doesn't matter if you have, although I think personally that'd be pretty cool of you, is that you're going to see now and then this thing called component. And you're thinking, well, you know, I have, this is a component, right? If I had some files elsewhere, I could bring them in as components and drop them in here. So kind of what's going on here? Well, what's going on is that the component, this table, when it renders, it's going to definitely be a table, but what happens is it's like wrapped in the paper component, so it'll have that paper look and feel. So it's almost like it's backed by it. If you were to work with, I believe, React Router, and you were using a link or a button that was a link, you'd have that component attribute as well, where you could wrap something in another component, and so therefore you'd have the functionality or look of one, but you'd also have the backing of the other component. I know that's a kind of abstract and out there because I'm not showing the linking example, but let's go ahead with this table, and I guess we'll see as we go along what that means. So we're going to have a table, bring that out down here. And if you've already gone through and made tables before in regular HTML, and I imagine most of y'all have, if you're going to React, odds are you're probably not starting to learn web development straight with React. You can if you want to, but I recommend going to like W3 schools or elsewhere, or recommending me make videos or whatever to kind of show you the basics. So we're going to make a table row here, and then let's just do 2 table cells. There's no point in doing a zillion here, and let's just make 2. Let's just make it super vanilla, super boring. So we have this right here. Let's save it and let's see what kind of stuff happens. Alrighty, so you kind of see that it's lifted right here, and this is part of that paper effect. As we add more stuff in, we're going to see it be a bit more bolder and defined. But you can even see lightly up here that there's this thin line where it's almost coming up from the back of the page. Alright, so now let's get out of the table head. And you guessed it, we have a table body we have to put together. Kind of more of the same stuff there. We're going to come in and make a table row. If I could type here. One of the neat things about tables compared to some of the other components that Material UI has, I think that tables are still very true and tried to their HTML format. So if you made it regular boring table elsewhere, coming to Material UI is relatively easy, whereas some of the components may be a bit more involved if you go like line by line what you need to make something simple like this. So we have a table cell, and you obviously want to line those up as close as you can. We're going to come in here and copy and paste this. We're going to put down Bob, because whenever I don't know what to type, I type in Bob. It's kind of my default. I don't know what I'm doing. And so what we see here is we have the header, the first name, and we have the last name, and then we have Bob, and then we have Smith up here. And that's all fine and dandy. But maybe one thing what we want to do is maybe, I don't know, align these differently. So rather than have them like this, maybe we want to shift the text on over. And so we could easily do that by going up here to align, coming in here, and let's see what our options are. We have center, we have left, we have right. Let's do right align on the first name right here. As we can see, that moves it on over. Now that looks pretty bad until we go and move all of them over. Alright, so that's pretty cool. What is that one function here where I could select multiple at one time? There we go. It's one of those muscle memory things where I do it on a Mac and then I forget how to do it on my PC. Center is another option as well. Center seems to be pretty good. And these are just, some of the minor things that you could do to manipulate a table. One thing that you would want to consider though, if you don't have enough experience with tables, is that you'll want to come in and do something like make the header bold here. You may want to use, bring in and make styles, or however you inject your CSS in here. You'll want to make these options bold so they know what the top of the page, or the columns look like, or Bob, what is that referring to? And they'll know that it's first name if they were to inspect it, but you want to give those visual cues to help out your user. But this is just, simple as could be, straightforward. These are tables, and yeah, have fun with them.